Good morning, good day, good whatever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Hope it's good. I'm here again. I've come back from my walk and I ain't starting work for a bit yet. So I thought I ain't done one this week because Monday, what was it? It's Wednesday today, by the way. Monday, what was I doing Monday I was going to do it, then I just got busy. Just when I come back from a walk, do this. Oh shit, I've got this. I had a few things I had to do in the morning anyway, so for work. And then yesterday, so I tried to do one day, have a day off, and then do one day. I did go walk last night, but then, you know, kind of have a little bit of a rest in the morning. Plus, I did go to sleep a little bit late on Monday, and when you're not feeling, I just got a little bit lazy, but you know, I managed to make it up later on today. I'm only walking. I'm not doing any other working out at the moment because with all the work that's going on in the house and stuff, there's no space to do anything. So just walking is what it is. It is what it is. So I have to do it. I have to do something. My failing body is still failing, by the way. So I've got to speak to the doctors again and see if there's, I don't know what it is. It's got to be something. It's got to be something muscular. Because even walking now, when I get to a certain point, on Saturday I did 12k, it was about 8 miles or something like that. And I could really, later on I suffered for it when I was sort of sitting on the sofa watching a film later on, and I was like, ouch. I could really feel it, whichever position I could, and it was all sort of around rather than just in that one place. Nah. I don't know, maybe it's just getting old, wear and tear. They say wear and tear. Wear and tear. It depends how much you've done as a kid. I mean, I know I've messed up my knees, but that was from bikes. From when I had an accident on my bike that messed up my knees mostly. The rest of it, I wasn't super sporty. Like, I know friends of mine who were like played football at a decent level for quite a long time, and the impact on your knees is quite. Most of them, it's been knees and joints, knees, ankles. It's been pretty bad, but I know people who've like sort of lifted weights from a younger age and messed up shoulders because you never get anything fixed properly. Nobody ever rehab properly. They just sort of rest it for a week and then go back to it and just make it worse. So yeah, I know people like that, but I was never really that. I wasn't a sport. I mean, I played football and I did this and I did that. But I mean, I've talked about it before. In tennis, I was the confidence builder because I was shit at it. But I don't know. It may be just injuring myself. I'm not. It's not wear and tear from sports. It's just wear and tear from being an idiot for most of my life and doing stupid things. Like when I said I jumped off a building once into a sand pit. It was a new bit. I probably talked about it before. I'm sure I've talked to Ant about it before. Was that they? I mean, I don't know. I was less than 10, let's say. Definitely less than 10. And there was a building going on opposite. So where we used to live in Bilston, there was a new houses being built. Denville Close, it was on Bunkers. We used to live on Bunkers Hill Lane. And Denville Close was built. I always remember that from when I was a kid. And back in the days, they never used to block off the building sites. So it used to be just open. They'd just come, build, and go. No fences or anything. So you could just go up there and just play in these empty shells of houses that they'd built. And sit on the diggers and stuff. I mean, there's no keys in there, so you couldn't start anything up. You just sit on them and play about. It was like a playground. It was a very dangerous playground, but a playground nevertheless. Never really hurt myself. I don't remember anybody hurting themselves in there. But so I went onto the second floor, and they dared me to jump out of the window bit because it was all open. There was no frame or anything there. Into a pile of building sand. So I did. I didn't even have no second thought about it. I just jumped into the sand. Somebody reminded me of it not long ago as well. Yeah, it's crazy shit. But these are the things that have the wear and tear on my body is idiocy. It's like because my nephew, one of my nephews, hurt himself recently. Banged his head on the table, cut his head open, and I said, don't worry, he's part of the gang now because I've got mine. Two of my sons have hurt themselves in the same way. One's got a little Harry Potter scar in the middle of his fingers, one's got in the back of his head. And we've all We've all smashed our heads on something. I've smashed my head many times. I think I've suffered multiple concussions, hence the reason I'm slightly imbalanced. But yeah, I think I have suffered multiple concussions since I was a kid. The amount of times I've smacked my head. Even now, I've talked about it. That as well before. There's too many things I've talked about. But I've talked about that when I was just getting something out from under the stairs and I've got up too quickly and smacked my head on the back. That was on a car boot. I'd opened the... It was my old car. So I'd opened the boot and somebody had called me and I turned my head. And then as I turned back, it was perfect as I went down just as the boot lid came up and smacked me in the middle of my nose there. That was a nose thing, but this has been broken twice as well, so that's why it looks so lovely. My mum says it looks like a samosa. That maybe that's the episode. Samosa nose. But yes, I hope everybody's doing well. My little veer off into my childhood. It's been a weird week because I was just thinking about this is it's this week, give or take a day or so, that we lost a dad, and I think I mentioned it before, but it's actual now that that I've lived longer without him than with him, because I was 22 when he passed away, and it's been 23 years now. So it's been like, so it's weird, isn't it? It's just I was thinking about it last night, in fairness. I was like, that's a strange one to and the thing is, it's how much do you remember? Do you remember, is the image that you remember from your memory, or is it just from photos that are stuck in your memory? You know what I mean? It's like, do you remember the physical person, or do you remember, or is it now just a memory from pictures or photos? No, pictures. Because like I say, we've got loads of photos, loads of family photos, loads of, you know, occasion photos and stuff. I've got loads and loads of photos with dad in them and of dad. But so I was trying to think yesterday, what did he sound like? And we have got videos actually, so I might watch one of the videos. It's like, you know, because you lose, you misremember things, don't you? As your memory as the time goes, the memory changes. Yeah, I mean, and you tend, unless you had sort of bad experiences with whoever, you tend to remember the good stuff, and you remember the good stuff, and remember the laughs and the jokes that you had. Even if you didn't have them with other people as well, it's like there's lots of. It's just so I was in a kind of reminiscing kind of mood, and yeah, it was 23 years, mental. In the last century, that was. In the last millennia, 1999. It was a weird time. From what I can remember of it. Yeah. Yeah, it was at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham. I remember getting the phone call, actually. I remember getting the phone call because we had the shop then, so I was in the shop. So I'd go back and forth to Birmingham because we were in Shrewsbury, and I remember getting the phone call from my uncle saying, "Come to the hospital." And like, you know, when they say that, and then I think somebody had I think they'd spoken to somebody to come to the shop to cover, because the shop was still open. I couldn't shut the shop, and somebody was going to come into the shop, and then I was going to drive up, so I drove up by myself, and it was I knew on the way they wouldn't have phoned me, because I was going to go later on anyway, so they wouldn't phone me to come if nothing had happened. And it was like, and he was really, really seriously ill, so it wasn't that. It was a very, very slight chance from what the doctors had said as well. You know, in terms of him fully recovering was very, very slight. So it was just hoping for the best. And then, yeah, when I got to the hospital, it was like. But then, yeah, and then a lot since then, a lot has stemmed from me not grieving, because I remember crying at the hospital when I saw him, and then I couldn't stay there, and then I just went to the toilet, washed my face. I remember looking at myself in the mirror, and my eyes were all red, and I was like kind of stood there for a bit, and then went out and never went back in again. Didn't want to see him. And then that's all I remember from that day, in fairness. I don't remember going home. I don't remember what happened that day at the hospital. You know, things that happened. It's weird. I remember that bit. I remember seeing him, and I remember breaking down, and I remember, don't anybody come near me, and just leave me alone. And I went to the toilet, and that was all right. But then, like I say, you know, organising the funeral and things like that afterwards. I guess it was just, I would occupy my mind with other things rather than actually sit down and grieve. Like I say, I've grieved now, and then that's helped me, because that affected me, as I've mentioned, as I've talked about. That affected me so much going on until last year. Was it last year? Or was it 2020? Jeez, can't remember the years now. I think it was 2020. Yeah, it was 2020. When I understood you know, I don't understand all the problems, but that specific aspect of it, of me not coping with these things, because I didn't know how to grieve, and I didn't understand what to do. I understand it now, and then, like I say, obviously last year we've had 2 passings within the family, 2 massive influences, matriarchal figures, you would say, and I kind of understood, because I can't tell anybody else. I can only tell you about myself, and I understood my own feelings about it and how I felt, and you know what, this detachment thing that I was talking about last week, I think it's pretty cool. It's just an interesting concept, and I know I'm not looking at the camera. I'm just like, because it's my thinking face. So I'm looking up at the wall. There's literally a wall I'm looking at, or an alarm sensor. So there's nothing that I'm looking at specifically. As you can see, I've got my halo just above me. But this room's a right mess because of all the emptying the garage. There's stuff everywhere. So I'm trying to show you just the neatest. You got a fan and a mirror, and sofa, and there's my massage thing here. I need it for my back sometimes when I'm sitting in it. Woo! That is really good. I'll turn it off. Yeah, yeah. So it's grief. It's how I learned my own feelings around grief, and how I deal with it. And I think I'm not perfect, but better. Just understanding it, because it's understanding your own feelings, isn't it? And how you feel and why you feel that way. That's what I understood. Why do I feel like that? Why has this upset me so much? Why do I feel like, you know, why do I feel anxious? Why do I feel depressed? Why do I feel sad? Because I think there's a distinction between sadness and depression as well. Obviously, it's not obvious, because people equate the 2 things, but they definitely do different things, and I can't explain why. But you know, figure it out yourself. Google it or something. And a humour. My mate, in fairness, you were talking about Dad's funeral. My best mate, he said, he was talking to me not long ago about it, and he said, I remember telling you off on your dad's funeral because you started like cracking jokes, so I started laughing. But then that was the way I cope. That's the way I mean, those of you who know me, that's the way I cope with a lot of things like that, is through humour. It makes me feel, it doesn't make me feel better, but it just, that's, some people, it's different coping mechanisms, and my coping mechanism is you know, lightening the mood, let's say. Talking about, I remember talking about, I don't know if I mentioned this before, somebody was talking about that with me, because we were talking about, because like within our culture, we cremated, not buried, so it's cremation, which I would prefer, actually. burying seems like a palaver, but yeah. So it's cremation, and so culturally, what would happen is that the ashes would be taken to India, and then there's specific places. Different religions have different places, but there's specific places at the temple, and you pour the ashes in the river by the temple, and a prayer said, and things like that. So, but then nowadays, obviously, there's the expense of that as well, of going there and doing this, and the time, because it's getting the time to do things like that as well. So a lot of people, I don't know, my uncle and my aunts, eventually I think they'll do it at some point. They haven't done it yet. And then other people within my family as well. My brother-in-law, their ashes were at like Stratford. I don't know my aunts yet because that's for them to sort out, but they'll sort that out at some point. But like my uncles and my brother-in-laws and other people I know as well have done them within the UK on the River Severn and on the Avon in Stratford. And other rivers, there's plenty of places around here that you can do it. So, because at the end of the day, a river's a river. Every river eventually ends up in the sea, doesn't it? So, or it goes somewhere, and it's just putting them in water and letting them. And somebody said to me, "What? Where would you like yours?" And I said, "You know what? If I'm dead, it doesn't really make no difference. It's whoever. It's your decision. Where you can just flush them down the toilet for all I care. It's water, but you know what? It's like." There's nothing there, is there? It's just ashes. So that's how I see it, anyway. I'm not saying that you should flush anybody's toilet down the toilet, but if you flush mine down the toilet, you flush mine down the toilet. It's a quick way. Gather everybody in the bathroom, and do it that way if you want to do it that way. I'm just like, the thing is, once you're dead, you're dead. You can't really do it. You can't really influence it unless you send a message beforehand, or you organise before. There was I was listening to a podcast, Metaphysical Milkshake. It's Reza Aslan. He's a writer and an author. He's a TV writer and author and other stuff as well. And Rainn Wilson, who's Dwight from The Office, as everybody knows him, in the US Office. Dwight Schrute. Really interesting milkshake. They do all sorts of like it's about life's big questions. And one of the one of the guests that they had on there was a lady. I can't remember her name, but she was a death doula. And I was like, what's that? And it was like, she helps people, well, their organisation helps people organise their, and it's not that you're about to die. There's people that I think with terminal illnesses, it's even just anybody can go speak to them and then organise, okay, have you got these things in place? And they help them organise these things, like if it's your wills, if it's organising like funeral arrangements, what sort of things would you want to happen at your funeral, and lots of things. And it's just really interesting. I think there's a website they've got, but I thought that's actually really interesting, because unless you like I said, unless you've got a terminal illness and you know that you haven't got long left, because there was a relative of mine who knew that they weren't long for this world, so they before when they were ill, they were still able to talk and able to communicate. They organised, not organised, but they said that this is what I want. I want this to happen. I want these songs to be played. I want this. I want to make sure this is done. And if you're able to, but then other than that, especially with the COVID times that we're in, you don't know what's going to happen at any time. So it was just really interesting that I never thought of it like that. That you could just maybe you could organise it when you're fully healthy, and at least it's in place, and then nobody has to worry about it when the time comes, because it's a horrible and stressful time at the best of times, especially within Asian households, because what we tend to do is it's like 7 days or so after the death, and that's obviously dependent on death certificates being issued and things like that, and then you're organising the funeral, and there's getting space at the crematorium, and so however long it takes, and then within that time, people are constantly coming to the house to grieve, and it's draining, because I remember my brother-in-law's, it was draining, because it was it was just one of those. It was like, because you're there all the time, and it depends who's there with you. So when it was with when my uncle passed away and my aunt passed away, same house. With the, I always say, with the brothers and sisters there, with all our cousins and everybody there, and my sisters, and it was easier to cope because you there were good support around you, and it would generally, what would happen is that people would come in and grieve, and then you can only grieve so much, and then conversations would happen, talking about this and talking about that, and so you'd have all sorts of interesting conversations. And it was a horrible time, but it was also nice. It's a nice thing that happens when all the family comes together, and because you don't always get to see the family. So especially it was during sort of out of lockdown, so you could have people over and stuff like that. So, but it was just nice we did ask people to test, and if you wanted to wear a mask, and stuff like that. But it was just having it's a good support structure to have around, because you can grieve and you can kind of be there for each other, and I always enjoy having that family around, just because it just makes things a lot easier in times like that, because it's a hard time. Banged out 20 minutes of nothing. But yeah, what's been happening with you? You've been alright? You've been up to much? You had the Omi Womi. I decided to call it Omi Womi just to soften it a little bit. Omi Womi and Kobe Wovi. Passes the time, doesn't it? It's amazing what I do when I'm bored. I think I don't know whether I did upset them or not, but I did say to somebody the other day that I feel like we've got diet friendships now, and it wasn't just specifically to that person. It was talking about other people as well. But yeah, that conversation was with that person. So, and it does feel like that at the moment. It's like everything's sort of really vanilla. Nobody's really talking. Everything's just generic and general conversation, and it's like, yeah, there's nothing there. There's always something there, but it's not what it was. Because I've said it before, that messages have no nuance, they're just a message, they're just text, aren't they? There's nothing written in there. And then I have in the past written kind of how I've felt within messages and not got anything back from it, from a number of people. And they've just gone back to generic, and it's like, okay, no, I'm not doing that anymore. And that's why I said before that the best you're going to get out of me is, in that respect, is like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay, I'm fine. And the rest you can ask me on air, or you can listen to me on air if you want. If you've got this far, you are. So, the rest of it, if you want to talk to me, you can talk to me. And then I think I'm a bit more guarded now. That's what it is. I'm more guarded with how I feel again, but in a healthier way than I was before, because I'd just keep it in before, and not understand why. Now I'm kind of understanding why, about me, not about why I'm more guarded. I understand why I'm more guarded as well, but yeah, my feelings are my feelings, and if I need to speak to somebody about them, I will. Otherwise, I'm good not sharing, because I'm not getting anything back anyway, so it's all good. It's all good in the hood. I'm sure I was meant to do something this morning, something else apart from this. Apart from talk to you lovely people who decide to listen to me talk shit for however long I talk shit for. Yeah, so I did say, like I said, I don't like mentioning people's names in there because I don't know who wants to be mentioned. So I was saying to the specific, I'll say specific person, that friendship wise, if I did it on a rating, it was like, I went from 8, 9 to a 4, 5, and that's not and I did say that's not me not caring about friendships and or you know, any kind of relationships or anything like that. It's just in relation to how much I want to share, and that goes across the board, because I did say that most people are at a 2 or 3, or maybe a 1 or 2. I'll just share what I want to share. That's what it is. I still don't know what this episode's going to be called. Samosa knows probably. Or sliding scale. Friendship rate. Nah, that's too much on the nose, isn't it? On the nose. But yes, yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. I'm still thinking about that. How I feel about that kind of stuff. Oh, just under 11,000 I'm on. Tell you bad. But as ever, I'm here for people if they want to talk, because I'm good at that, talking. I'm pretty good at listening now as well, I think. I never use it. It depends. You have to engage. It's with anything, isn't it? You have to be engaged with how somebody's, you know, what they're telling you. Because if it's not engaging, it's not. You're not going to take anything. You're not going to listen. You're not going to be able to react or provide that support or advice or conversation if you're not listening to what they're saying. So I generally am. I'm here for you. So the TV's coming, and there's nothing on. It's just the you know, the Amazon Prime screen, and it's just flipping between what shows they've got on there. I've not watched any of those ones, but I'm not really. I've seen Ghostbusters Afterlife. That was really good. I enjoyed that. Good film. Good film. That's it. It's gone now. I'll not be distracted. The screensaver's coming. So, yeah. It's is it due to the time that we're in with Kobe that these things? I think that a lot of people, I have been. So somebody's just putting it on everybody else. Okay, I have been more obviously, as more and more you listen, more and more introspective about me. Like I always say, I haven't got the energy to kind of think about how anybody else feels. You know, my own thing is it makes thinking about how I feel is difficult enough without worrying about what other people think. I can't be asked. I really can't be asked. Laziness, like I said, it's embracing your laziness, isn't it? It's too much energy to figure out what other people are on about. Not on about, you know what I mean? How they feel about this or that, because that causes its own anxiety and stress. Why isn't this happening? Or why did they say this? Or why didn't they say this? And so, I don't know. But it's too much effort to think about it. So, is this angle all right, or should I go up a bit? I'm thinking about it now. I'm about to be up to half an hour. I'm on my gooseneck thing. It's pretty cool. Shout out to Ant who bought me that one. because my other one broke, and he bought me this one. This one was better, much better than my last one. I have it in there, my workstation. Let's call it workstation. Makes it sound more official. It's a coffee table with a monitor on it and a laptop. Some workstation in it. It's a station that I work at. You know, I've got a few things to do. First thing, to get these, bang these things out the way, and then yep, get going on those in a minute. I'll finish up in a minute. I've done half an hour. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. When I came in really cold, not cold physically, cold as in, I know I say it every week that I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I really didn't think I was going to do this today. I thought I'll just leave it to the weekend and do one on the weekend, but I thought I literally got me water, got me second method. I don't know which one it is, and then thought, yeah, I got half an hour to kill. I might as well go and ramble on about something or other. All right, okay. Yeah, that's me done for the day. Not done for the day, done for the day, done for the now. So, I'll love you and leave you. And I'll catch you soon. I might do another one this week. I never know. You never know what I'm going to do now. Anything could happen. Love ya.